Sally Struthers. You won't believe what happened next at 78. Sally Struthers finally spoke up about Carroll O'Connor, and what she said turns the whole Archie Bunker story sideways. It's not about the character everyone argued about for decades. It's about the man behind the gruff voice, the quiet lessons he gave, and the way he shaped a young actor who was still finding her footing. Stick with me, this one gets warm, tricky, and oddly comforting. Sally's life didn't start under movie lights. She was born in Portland on the 28th of July, 1947, and grew up in a household where expectations mattered. Her dad worked in medicine, but life wasn't perfect. When her father left, when she was about 10, everything shifted. Her mother had to carry the load for two girls, and that early disruption taught Sally how to hold two things at once: vulnerability and grit. Those two traits, she says, followed her into auditions, on set, and into every role that needed a little truth under the laughs. Her first big screen break came in 1970, with a small but memorable part in 5 Easy Pieces. She shared the frame with Jack Nicholson and managed to make an impression not by stealing scenes, but by showing she could ground a moment, so it felt real. Around the same time, she popped up on variety shows, doing the rounds with her timing and charm. Then, in 1971, everything changed. She became Gloria Stivic on All in the Family. Suddenly, she wasn't just an actress. She was the voice of a new generation, the kid caught between an old-school father and a radical husband. The show was lightning in a bottle, and Sally's warmth and stubborn streak made Gloria someone audiences rooted for. Now, here's where the reveal gets interesting. On set, Archie Bunker looked and sounded like a man who ate his words for breakfast. But off-camera, Carroll O'Connor, the man behind the fury, was nothing like the caricature. Sally says he was the kind of teacher who never humiliated you to make a point. When scripts landed heavy, when the topics were raw and the cameras were rolling, Carroll didn't glare, he coached. He invited her to dinner, checked in on how she handled the sudden spotlight, and reminded her, gently, that the outrage on TV wasn't theirs to own forever. It's the work that matters, he'd tell her, and she carried that with her. Think about that for a second. The guy who made whole families gasp every week was the same man who told Irish jokes between takes to keep everyone laughing. He used humor the way a doctor uses a scalpel to cut tension, not people. And yes, Carroll could be mischievous. Norman Lear would get annoyed because the cast would dissolve into laughter at the worst possible moments. But that laughter was also a glue. It's easy to forget that a show that debated race, gender, and changes in American life needed a lot of off-camera kindness to stay sane. Sally's memory of him goes deeper than mentorship. She talks about how Carroll respected women, not the way a scripted Archie would, but in real life. He admired his co-star John Stapleton and treated Sally as an equal from day one. He pushed for Gloria to be more than a foil. He wanted her to represent millions of young women who were rethinking their place in the world. That protection wasn't possessive, it was practical. He wanted the character to have a voice, and he helped give her one. There was also sorrow. Sally remembers how the death of Carroll's son hit him like a storm that never quite passed. Grief changed his face in ways that were hard to miss. Yet, even then, his instinct was to reach outward. When a friend was down, when someone needed a hand, he offered it. That kind of resilience, keep working, keep caring, is what Sally says she learned from him. His pain didn't make him bitter, she says. It made him more human. After all, in the family, Sally didn't disappear into typecasting. She tried drama in films like The Getaway, where she proved she could carry weight outside sitcom beats. She bounced between television, voice work in cartoons, and the stage roles that let her stretch in different directions. Later, people who loved small-town charm knew her as Babette Dell on Gilmore Girls, and younger audiences found her voice in animated shows. Through it all, the lesson was the same. Bring honesty, bring humor, and never forget the people who taught you how to be brave. Because, behind all the fame and applause, Sally Struthers says what lasts isn't the awards or the headlines. It's the people who changed you without ever making a big deal about it. She remembers how Carroll O'Connor used to pull her aside after long rehearsals and tell her, "Don't rush through the funny lines. Let the truth land first. That's where the real laugh lives." Those lessons weren't just about acting, they were about life. About slowing down, being present, and understanding that meaning always comes before performance. Even decades later, Sally still carries his words with her whenever she steps on stage or in front of a camera. To her, he wasn't just a co-star. He was family, the kind you choose, not the kind you're born with. So why does any of this matter now? Because public personas are sticky. Once you get labeled grumpy dad, loudmouth, comic relief, it's hard for audiences to separate the joke from the human being. Sally's decision to speak so candidly at 78 is a reminder that the stories behind our favorite characters are often more complicated, kinder, and more bittersweet than the scripts let on. She wanted the world to remember Carroll O'Connor not just as a master of a difficult role, but as a mentor, a jokester, a protector, and a man who carried sorrow and compassion in equal measure. Here's the heart of it. We owe a lot to the people who quietly shape us. Mentors don't always appear on plaques or in headlines. Sometimes they sit at a table between takes, telling a joke and nudging you to be better. Sally's truth about Carroll is less a celebrity confession and more a gentle nudge to look beyond surface anger and applause to the humans doing the messy work. If this story moved you, share it. If you want more tales that pull back the curtain on familiar faces, hit like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments who surprised you when you learned their real, softer side. Thanks for listening. Go on, give someone the credit they quietly deserve today.